Claudine.
And
Dominique Colbert.
And thank you for joining us here tonight at What the France News.
Tons of local news to share tonight, all which directly affect you, the people of France.
Our story of the night is about the new constitution that the National Assembly is writing for our country. The group of men that are writing the new constitution feel that it would be complete by the end of 1791. It seems that this new constitution will most likely revolve around the monarchy, and what level of power will be granted to us.
Assembly is writing the abolition of the absolute monarchy into the constitution has been floating around France, but this is yet to be confirmed by anyone in the National Assembly. However, according to a few inside sources, writing this new constitution has not been all smooth sailing for the National Assembly. In fact, there seem to be quite a few disagreements amongst these men. Most of the propositions that have been made from each estate have been turned down by the other two.
Holland's out soon enough to get the Constitution written because our country is in desperate need of a new one.
Next up in tonight's local news, the high demand of sheep in France has caused the price of sheep to go up by 16.7%. Can you believe this? Sheep offer us many materials that we use every single day. For example, they produce wool, milk, and actually meat. These cute, fuzzy creatures seem to be becoming some of the most expensive farm animals in France right now.
This price might just be too expensive for people to afford right now in France. After all, money doesn't grow on trees.
Massive rainstorm has come down unexpectedly last night, ruining many crops that were planted in farms just out of the outskirts of Paris. Farmers have been doing all they can to save their precious food, money, and other resources, but it seems that that will not be enough. Hopefully everything will turn out okay for those hard-working farmers and all of their crops.
All we have tonight on our local news. Up next is our art, literature, and music
and welcome
segment.
to What the France's National Art, Music, and Literature segment. We'll be discussing new developments in each area and sharing our thoughts in what these developments will lead to. First, let's talk about art. A few new styles have made themselves present in France lately, and they are called Rococo and Neoclassicalism. Rococo is a form of art in which things such as pastels, colors, flower patterns, and overall delicate scenes are emphasized. This style of art is given lots of attention thanks to artists earlier this century, like Anthony Wayton. Wayton influenced Rococo today by shifting the focus of these paintings by form rather heavy subjects such as religion to lighter subjects such as daily life. Neoclassicalism deals with virtues and ideological documents of the French Revolution. Next, we will be explaining today's music. France as a whole has been under a classical musical influence. One example is Jean-Philippe Rennes.
So much, Annabelle, for that quite interesting information you just gave the public. Now moving on forward, this man lived up till 1764. He had many musical accomplishments, including Le Bourrites and Les Polladines. It is without a doubt that France has taken musical influence from Germany and Italy. Opera, ballet, keyboard, chamber music are all very popular nowadays. Lastly, literature today has been progressing in a scientific direction. The clergy and those affiliated with are not fans of this direction and are having anything with these ideas, and them banned to keep the population focused on the church. The Catholic influences have been weakened. Protestantism is being tolerated. All of this oppression of news has gotten citizens rioted up. All as of these news ideas developed, it is questionable who say will matter most, the government or the peoples.
And here's an outlook on the specifics for this week's weather. As you can see, high chance of rain every day and a steady decrease in temperature all week from Monday to Sunday, and a lot of wind every day. And here are the specifics for this week's weather. On Monday, we have a high of 62 degrees and a low of 52 with a 40% chance of rain, sunny skies, and light wind. Tuesday, we have a high of 58 and a low of 49 with also 40% chance of rain, sunny skies, but a bit more wind. Wednesday, we have a high of 56 degrees and low of 48 with a 50% chance of rain, but clear skies all day. On Thursday, we have a high of 55 and a low of 45 with a 50% chance of rain, a bit more fog, and some mild wind. On Friday, we have a low of 54. On Saturday, the high is going to be 55 degrees with a low of 44 with an 80% chance of rain and light wind. On Sunday, there's a high of 52 and a low of 42 with an 80% chance of rain with just a little bit of fog, but no wind at all. And here's an outlook on the weather of all of France. As you can see, there's rain and wind scattered all throughout the country, and you're going to see decreasing temperatures all throughout the week.
I'm here with Benjamin Lapointe, who has taken part in the rebellion against Louis XVI, remaining king under a constitutional monarchy. You have taken a course of action in this revolution.
Yes, indeed.
What makes you think the side of the revolution and why?
I took this side of the revolution because the king had way too much power and control over us. The country was getting poorer, but the king wasn't affected at all. He was getting all the country's money.
Rebelling against him as you had already taken the side of the revolution. Why did it upset you that he was leaving the country? Isn't that what you wanted? To get rid of the king?
I didn't want a king in power, but when Louis XVI tried to escape France, I felt abandoned, you know? The king leaving the country was a selfish act because he should have been trying to fix our problems instead of just ignoring them and running away.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Benjamin.
Yeah, thank you kindly.
I'm here at the Champ de Mars field where there seems to be a bit of commotion going on.
The Constituent Assembly has just issued a decree that King Louis XVI will remain king under a constitutional monarchy. Boy, the revolution supporters definitely do not enjoy the looks of this. They want the king out of power.
Contradicting this decree is Jacques-Pierre Rousseau, the editor and writer of Le Patriot Français. He created a petition demanding the removal of the king. This large crowd behind me is gathered to sign this petition.
There was a smaller crowd here earlier this morning that had shown up to sign the petition. The Marquis de Lafayette and the National Guard had been able to disperse the crowd, and they left. Now, this much larger crowd is determined to sign the petition and take Louis XVI out of power. I have a feeling there's going to be a rebellion or battle of sorts when the National Guard and the Marquis de Lafayette arrive. Things in the situation are already heating up.
You can hear the crowd shouting behind me, Vive la Nation, which means long live the nation. The revolutionaries are heating up.
Well, that's all we have for you. Thank you, and there will definitely be more to come. Back to you, Florida.
And we're back with the latest on the massacre at the Champ de Mars.
People on scene have estimated approximately 50 deaths, 12 wounded, and the arrest of around 250 people. Police and doctors are working on scene to clean up the bodies of the deceased and search for any survivors. Police are trying to get the crowds under control in an attempt to prevent another rebellion. The National Guard fired a few warning shots on the crowd to get them to scatter, but after a few unsuccessful attempts, Lafayette ordered his men to open fire on the crowd. Because of this incident, many people are wondering what will happen to liberty. One person describes his mask, blood has just flowed on the field of the Federation, staining the altar of the fatherland. Men and women have had their throats slashed, and the citizens are at a loss. What shall become of liberty? Some say that it has been destroyed and that the counter-revolution has won. Others are certain that liberty has been avenged and that the revolution has been unshakably consolidated. We'll be reviewing today's massacre.
With radicalism and public dissatisfaction growing, so did the odds of a feud between the National Assembly and the people.
The National Assembly was composed of bourgeoisie and moderate liberals instead of radical Democrats.
The Assembly's new Constitution of 1791 would keep Louis XVI as the head of state.
Hearing about the King's reinstatement, the public decided to take matters into their own hands.
The Assembly drew up a petition to deal with the matter and invited the people of Paris to the Champ de Mars, a large field just outside the city. Over 6,000 people attended the signing.
During the signing, a mob hanged 2 suspected royalists. Lafayette brought in a brigade from the National Guard to control the mob. The National Guard was resisted and forced to fire back, resulting in 50 deaths. This was a tragic day in French history.
This week's news. We'll see you next week at What the France News.